A professional website is not a nice to have. It is essential for your business, credibility, and conversions. But if you're not a web designer, how do you get a professional site? In this video, I'm gonna show you some key principles that will instantly take your website to the next level. And it does not matter if you have zero background in design. Let's get started. As you can see here, this is the back end of my website, and you can see all these different features here that allow us to build our website just as we like. Now, the first design principle is consistency. Yes, that may seem boring, but let me tell you how easy this is to do and how much it will elevate your website. This is like the 80-20 rule. You do consistency well, everything on your website is gonna feel so much better. So what is consistency on a website? A few core things. First and foremost, as you look here on my site, it's gonna be that all the fonts feel consistent across the site. With a Wix website, that's gonna be there, consistent, easy, that's checked off, you don't have to worry about it. But the second thing is going to be really coming into how do the sections look on any individual page, and do those sections look similar on other pages? So let's take a look here. We have this header with the image on the left, text on the right. I would repeat this pattern on all my pages. Obviously, it'll be different images, different text, potentially even a different button, but if you use this design style for your site homepage, I recommend using it across all your pages. The only exception to that is potentially on your homepage, it's a little different, but all your other pages should be similar. So for instance, what you're looking at on my screen here, this is not ideal for the About page. It's a cool look, but it's not really the look we want for our site because it just is inconsistent. Consistent design leads to trust. Anytime I see a new section, does it feel consistent with the other sections on the website? Okay, so let's start to build the About page. What I did here, super easy, is I just went to Manage Pages and then just click these three dots. Then from there, hit Duplicate and just duplicated the page. This makes the process way easier as you keep building your site to use sections that feel similar. So here we go on my About page. Let me open this up. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. You'll see I'm on my About page here. I'm no longer on my home page. Then I can come in here and start to edit the text and the content. About us, boom. And just like that, I've chosen a new image for this page, but I don't like how she's facing that way. I want her to face the other way, so I'll go to the actual settings here. I'll do crop, and then boom, just right in here, I could flip the image horizontally, just like that. And then if I want to crop it further, I can do that. So then I get a little bit more real estate in terms of what I want it to focus on, and placement. Boom, just like that, flip the image, and now we can keep building. So consistency really comes down to using maybe 4 to 7 different styles of sections over and over and over again on your website. So for instance, this is one style, then this is another style, then this is a third style. Now, the second thing to focus on is what web designers call padding, but for the average user is a clean layout with ample white space. So as you can see here on the second section of our homepage, there's breathing room above the text, below the text, and there's also even breathing room above the image and below the image for this section, which then leads into our expertise section, and there's breathing room here. If you start going into these sections and then making edits to the actual layout where this breathing room at the top goes away, it starts to look really tight, or it starts to look like it's a mistake. These small details really change the game for how your user experiences your website. Now let's just take a look at what you see on my screen right here. This website doesn't really have any breathing room. I mean, there's obviously space on the left and the right, but the content itself is really hard to identify. Any visual hierarchy or any kind of importance or separation in the content. They kind of do that with colors here, but even then, it's really hard for my eye to just scan this page quickly and tell you what is on this page. If I look here and I look away, I have no idea what I just looked at. But if we go back to my site here and I just quickly skim through, you could easily, without having to spend a lot of time, you could easily tell what the 5-6 sections are on the site. And that's what you want to focus on. Bite-sized pieces of information with breathing room. So this is the principle I recommend here. The more someone's confused on your website, the less time they'll spend on your website. For instance, if I land on your website and I'm looking for testimonials, it's going to be really hard to find out where the testimonials are here. But if I come here and I start skimming this page, it'll be really easy for me to find the testimonials. Boom, they're right there. Success stories. So easy to see. And even the other sections around it make it really easy for me to know exactly where I am on the page. And that is done with breathing room. This may feel a little similar to the first one and the second one, but it is different. And all of these are core principles that if you get right, will change the game. This third one is clear visual hierarchy. It is so paramount that you have a clear visual hierarchy. When I look at your website, where's my eye supposed to go first, second, third, fourth, and fifth? You want to have that organized and have it be very, very clear. Now, let me show you an example of a hierarchy that is not clear. When you look at this page, where does your eye go? That is the point, is that it is so confusing to know where to look. Now, does this website need to rank well? Not really, but let's just look at a very, very different example and just get a feel for it. When you look at this page, where does your eye go? It is clear as day that the first thing you're gonna look at is the word iPhone. Next up, you're gonna look at Meet the iPhone 16 family. You'll see the visual, you see the buttons. The hierarchy is so simple and clear. Now, obviously Apple is the epitome of this, but let's take a look at my website. Now, when I'm on my site here, the hierarchy is very clear. The first thing I see is this text, scale your personal brand. Next up, I see the image, and then I see this text here, and I see the button. This is honestly the order you want to take someone through. The text tells them the result, the image highlights the result as well, then the text explains it a little bit further in what you can call caveman language, very, very simple language, and then the button tells them what to do next. Just by laying out these elements, especially for your header, you have just made your whole experience and pathway way easier for a user to understand what to look at. And just a pro tip when it comes to fonts, let's take a look here. I'm gonna go into this font editor here. This is set up as heading 1, which is perfect. And then we have it set up as pop-in semi-bold with the bold feature here. I have the font size at 70. Small details that help a ton in this case would be character and line spacing. So what I've done here is you can see I've set it to -0.5. Too much gets a little hard to read, but -0.5 is a nice feel here. If I go to 0, it feels good, but it's a little too spaced out. Just by going to 0.5, it feels really, really nice. And then for the line spacing, this is important as well. Right now it's set to 1.18, but this could actually be a little bit closer. Let me unselect that there, and let's set it to, 1. That's good. I could do 1. In some cases, I might be able to do 0.9. That could look good depending on how I set up other elements here, but this is great. If I did all caps, I might do it a little different. But you can see here, it looks really nice. And then I could set this as the main theme. And then one thing I love about Wix is once you make this edit, you could save to theme, and then this will override the style for all heading 1s. And so if I go to any other page on my site, as I can do here, if I go to About, you'll see now it follows the same styling, just like that. Which takes us back to our first principle of consistency, and it makes the site beautiful. Now, if we're editing this site, one thing I don't personally like just out of the box is this extra line. So what I'll do here is I'll just remove this line, and then I'm gonna move all this up so that it hugs this information a little better, and then I'll just center it. You could do center in this case, or I could do bottom, but again, make it consistent however you like, and then go from there. The other option is I can get rid of this line and then actually just move this down here, and boom, we have a really cool section. All right, let's see what the preview looks like on this page. Awesome, so cool, feels nice, it's clean. The animation is really cool. There we go. And we're starting to get a site that we love the feel. Now, number 4, this one is a little harder to give you a general principle and make it very practical, but the principle is easy. Everything should point to one direction. Intuitive and easy navigation all should point to one call to action. Especially if you are starting out, do not give people multiple options and directions to go. You don't want them signing up for your newsletter, downloading an ebook, trying to contact you for a service, book a call, while also buying a digital product. It's way too many directions. You want to give people one clear next step. Start with an easy to use navigation that takes people to the final step, and you always want to give people clarity on what is the step you want me to take. If I land on your website and I don't know what you want me to do, how hard is it going to be for me to figure out what to do? So in this case, on our website here, having the Get Started button is perfect. I may want to also add that to the navigation. Contact basically is the same thing, but in this case, I may want to go into the editor and change contact to actually be Get Started. So here I am going to create a contact page based off of my about page because I love the design of it. All right, so we'll start editing the text, contact, next steps, boom, just like that. Drag this up, make this smaller because I don't need it to be too big. And then I don't need the button because I'm already pushing people towards the next step. And so in this case, I'm actually gonna drag this smaller a little bit, boom. Okay, the header will be a little bit smaller and tighter here, but I think that's okay for the contact page because you want people to now fill out the form. In some cases, I could even put the form up here. So I already have the form on this page. So what I'm gonna do is actually just move this up into this next section and just get rid of the other sections because I don't necessarily need them on my contact page. All right, one more, boom. And then here, I'm gonna drag this center. The form is good to go. Header is good. And then we'll replace this image out here. So I'll go to image and you have access to thousands of images in here. I'll do laptop. Perfect. I'll choose this photo here. Just like that, we are set up. That is there. And then I'll just get rid of some of these sections here. And I'll just use the delete key on my keyboard. Just like that, getting rid of them. Easy as that. That's the footer, so I'll keep that. And now this page is designed. Now, these next few things I'm going to cover are going to be high level, but really important. The first one is going to be error-free content. No grammatical issues and no issues with spelling. When you have that, it just totally breaks trust with your user. And then you start to wonder as a user, maybe they have other issues in other places on their site or in their business. So make sure everything is well written. Read your site out loud once it's done. That's what I love to do. I'll go through the site and just go, our expertise, personal branding strategies, business scaling solutions. We specialize in crafting personalized personal brands. Issue there. And this is generated by AI, so obviously. But we want to fix things like that and make sure that everything is perfect. We don't want to over focus on it where we spend months and never launch the website, but you do want to make sure that everything is well written, grammatically correct, and free of typos. Now, the next thing is testimonials. I'm looking at another Wix website here, and having a section dedicated to testimonials is essential for nearly every website. Something as clear as this, where the text is huge, is so helpful and beneficial to ensure that when people land on your site, they build trust with you and take the next step. Finally, and this might be the most important, you need to test your website on mobile. Having a professional website doesn't just end with your desktop experience, it starts and ends on your desktop and mobile experience. They both matter uniquely. Here on this template, you can see the desktop experience is beautiful. There's a ton of white space. It's really easy to know what every section is. The hierarchy of the content is very, very clear. All those elements are there. But then when you go to the actual mobile experience, does it do the same thing? Well, as you can see here, it does. It delivers on the same impactful look and feel, so the experience just feels great. Design is super simple, and heck, if you just took this out of the box, switched out the numbers and the content for your content, you would have a beautiful site today. So if you follow those exact steps, your site will instantly look better. If you're looking to get started with Wix, check out the link below to get started today. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.